Good day to all of the faculties participating in this capstone project defense. We, the developers, are here to present you our capstone project entitled The Development of GoPro, a Learning Programming Application. A programming language is a format language comprising a set of strings that produce various kinds of machine code output. Programming languages are one kind of computer language used in computer programming to implement algorithms. We, the developers, conducted this research in order to help and encourage students and or people who is interested in programming. The study has three different programming languages to study: C Sharp, Java, and Python is the three programming languages the application has. In order to help them with the basics from the said three programming languages, we developed an application that has basic lessons and quizzes in order for them to study as easy as possible. Also, the application is a beginner-friendly application. Even a person with a zero knowledge about this can be encouraged by the application. The main objectives of the project is to develop and design a mobile application about the basics of C Sharp, Python, and Java. The application aims to design an educational application that has following features. First is user-friendly interface, possesses the following programming languages, which is C Sharp, Python, and Java. Third is to design for offline use. Fourth is to have 5 levels each of the programming language. Sixth is to introduction for each level. Seventh is synchronized learning lessons. Next is quiz every lesson. Number two is to develop an application as designed using the following development tools, which is Android Studio, Java programming languages, Adobe Photoshop, SQLite database, and Ping. Third is to test and evaluate the system for usability, functionality, and device compatibility to document the system. Scope and limitations. The development of GoPro, a learning programming application, is a study that looks at three programming languages: Java, C Sharp, and Python. The user will favor the programming languages that have been chosen. For each language, there are 4 lessons with quizzes after each lesson. The user has the option of learning numerous programming languages at once or concentrating only one at a time. The lectures cover the fundamentals of each language, as well as the basic operations and variables. In addition, each of the three programming languages has its own set of challenges for the user to complete. The challenge begins with the easy level and becomes more difficult as the user progresses to the next. The next levels will be locked and will only be unlocked once the previous challenge level has been completed.
Methodology. In project development, we use the Big Bang model for the software development process because it is best for a small group of people like us and having a short time from developing the software. With no specific process and little planning, it gives us developers flexibility. Also, it is good learning aid for newcomers or students like us. It is not just with no planning. It is like we make our own plan to develop the system, unlike other SDLC like Agile and Waterfall. We make our research about all the models and we made the decision to stick to the Big Bang. It is a very simple model, easy to manage, and very few resources are required. In this picture, you see time, effort, and resources are put together, and after it merges and like explode, that you see the model and then the software is made and ready to be released after that. The next is the context diagram. In this context diagram, the circle represents the system and the square represents the users. The user will put data to the system by answering some challenge in the programming challenge. The system will give it back to the users by displaying all the data. so user can view it to the game progress. Next is data flow diagram. The data flow diagram maps out the flow of information and process of the GoProg, a learning programming application. This data flow diagram shows how the user interacts with the application. In this data diagram, it shows that once the user finishes one level, it will forward some data to the database that will manipulate the data for the game progress. After that, it will display the data to the game profile and the user can move to the next level. Next is database design. The application has 5 tables in the database that includes game progress for manipulation of leveling when one level is finished, counter for counting of levels done in the 3 programming languages challenges, lesson unlock for unlocking the next lesson, levels unlock for unlocking the next levels, and dark mode for enabling the dark mode theme in the application. In this, you can see that we use in-type input in dark mode, lesson unlock, and levels unlock because we just use 2 values like 1 and zeros, which means 1 is for on and 0 for off, and assign a primary key for each table so the data won't be repeated and will avoid some errors that may cause in the runtime. Next is use case diagram. In this application, the user can select which tab to view. If the user wants to read lessons and take quizzes, the user can go to Learn tab. If users want to play the game and experience some challenge, user can go to the Challenge tab. If the user wants to view his or her progress, then the user can go to Profile tab. And in the menu, the user can go to Settings and choose the dark or light mode for the theme, and credits, terms and condition, and contacts for more some details. The system admin will just update and maintain the game. Software and programming use. We use Android Studio because it is a good IDE for making Android applications on the native method. The performance of Android Studio is a little slow compared to other available IDE like Eclipse, but the built-up performance is very good to use on Android devices. It makes trusted and worthwhile Android apps from that IDE, but it only provides Android native apps. The Android Studio is available for Windows, Macs, and Linux also, but we can develop only a native Android app, and that suits our goal. Also, the IDE comes with an intelligent editor, UI designer, emulator for testing, and a lot more. The software is quite powerful and offers the developers multiple customization options to build the right application. Overall, it's fun using Android Studio. However, it has a steep learning curve, especially for beginners like us. We use Java for programming language because we're more familiar with that than Kotlin. And we use Photoshop and Paint for some visuals and edits for the application that we develop.
Project testing results. The developers begin testing the GoPro app to check that it meets the intended functionality, device performance, and compatibility requirements. The programmers ensure that the software will run smoothly. The developers will check to see if the app is already usable and functional for the users. If any problems arise, the application will be subjected to the above-mentioned multiple sorts of testing again in order to improve its functionality. The developers use tests to ensure that the produced systems met its objective. This type of testing is done to see if the system needs to be upgraded. The developers double-check and double-verify that all of the system's features were working properly as shown in the table. In compatibility and device performance testing as shown in table, 3 different mobile device and also 3 different Android system or version has passed its own compatibility and device performance testing. The table shows the different type of device and Android system where the application is tested. We, the developers, use the ISO 25010 for evaluating the usability of the system. The table shows the numerical scale of 1 to 5, which is equivalent to poor, fair, good, very good, and excellent. The first table shows the result of usability questionnaires for 25 non-IT experts. According to the table, the usability of the system has resulted in a mean of 4.4 or very good, so that the application has passed the usability evaluation. The second table shows the result of the usability questionnaires for 5 IT experts. The table shows the mean of 4.1, so it means that the application has met its usability according to the evaluation. The assertions listed below are the conclusions reached by the developers based on the project's overall performance as determined by the testing and evaluation results. The generated application GoPro has got the results of testing and assessment with the help of the developers and responders. The created application achieved the purpose and generated the desired results. The core functionality are all working well. In terms of functionality, the final product passed all of the developers' functional tests on the devices where it was tested for the device compatibility. The program functions smoothly and without errors. The usability evaluation technique utilizing ISO 25010 yielded a mean of 4.2, which was orally characterized as very good.
Conclusion. In this table, the right side is the list of the objectives we had when we plan to develop the system, like a user-friendly interface, possess the following language like Java, C Sharp, and Python, a 5 level for each programming language challenges, synchronized learning lessons, and a quiz for each of the lesson. And the left side is the remark if we achieve it or not. This table shows that all the objectives we had has been achieved.
The following suggestions and recommendations are for future usage of the established system to improve and enhance it. First is the numbers of attempt in exercises and scores in each exercises. Number two is extension of topics covered. And lastly, embedding virtual machines to run a simple program.